eh?
Yeah, we're live. Hello. How's
Shalom.
everybody doing? We're talking, having a good time, and I forgot to advertise.
We're
I'm
podcasting.
so professional. I forgot to advertise in the advocation Discord, but it's also lost, so I'm not gonna do it because I don't know where it is. Because I've got like 12 new Discords over the last little bit, and I can't find it.
Classic.
So, yeah. Well, okay. It's been busy last couple weeks. Obviously the election is going on, or ongoing and currently. And for those that are listening, we do reside in the United States. But that's not what I was busy with. I was busy with schoolwork. But, you know, there's an election, so I can blame it on that, probably. Hey, hello, people in the chat. But, yeah. First thing you guys are going to notice, there's only two of us. Hi, I'm Solemn, FPS. Welcome. And my lovely
Hi.
co-host, Actual Rumz.
The actual one and only.
We are missing Smithel, and it is with a heavy heart that we say Smithel is going to be taking a step back for the time being from the podcast. He's had some family things that have come up that he needs to be able to take care of. We have given him full leeway to go and take on what he needs to do. You can still reach him on social media. You can still check him out. He's going to be playing D&D with us on our regular days when I get to stream D&D, but he's stepping away primarily from the show, and it'll be me and Rumz talking about, you know, stuff, probably Valorant stuff a lot, and some other game stuff when we get the chance.
Thoughts and prayers to Smithel.
Yeah, but definitely reach out to him, show him love. You can find him at Smithel Gaming on Twitter and at Smithel on Twitch. So please make sure you let him know that you're thinking about him, because
Indeed.
he's going through a ring, at least for a little while. So
Correct.
but he's got all of our support, and we know he's got your support too. But anyway, recently in the Valorant world, we had a patch. We had patch 1.11 come out, which is kind of
Twice.
came out twice. It had some bugs on the first release, so there's that. But it came live with the new map and the ranked rotation, which is Icebox. And if you guys want us to do a little breakdown on Icebox and kind of the strats that we've been seeing, please let us know. I'll be happy to. We'll make like a YouTube video or something and put it up about some strats on Icebox. Yeah. And they came out with a new character, which is Skye. Man,
Indeed.
I underrated Skye.
Yep.
I was wrong. I'll be a man. I'm gonna admit it. I was wrong, but
Take that on the chin.
they've come out with a lot of that, a lot of buffs for a lot of characters, a lot of nerfs for a lot of prevalent characters, which is interesting, especially with the First Strike tournament going on. So, first and foremost, a little bit of flash esports news for you because I'm excited about it. First Strike closed qualifier did start today, November 4th of 2020.
In fact,
100 Thieves took their first game, and Cloud9 took their first game, which is hot. And the other
Both
two
2-0.
teams were playing when I stopped to prep for the show, and I don't know their scores, so sorry. But I have those going on right now.
yes.
But I'm more worried about giving you guys some strategic insight, which is these character changes, because
Yes.
it's exciting.
I want to talk about why Skye is good.
I want to talk about why Skye is broken.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
Yeah. That's a better terminology.
do. First, let me hit these. We're gonna hit these nerfs really quick because I think they're important for people to recognize. One, Sentinels got nerfed. Shocker to like no one. Cypher and Killjoy both got nerfed. Specifically, Cypher, when he dies, his trap wires are now negated. They show up on the map. They don't do anything else, and they're deactivated, which is kind of, you know, it's pretty good for the enemy team.
Yeah, it's a pretty big nerf, pretty impactful.
Yeah.
That you don't have to, you don't have to creep around corners and make sure that you don't hit a trap.
Yeah, his intel's not
You just see
as free.
Correct. And speaking of not free with Cypher's traps, they didn't notate in the patch notes, but they did nerf the fact that if you pick up your trap wire and it is in your inventory going into the next round, you still have to buy it again.
Exactly.
No free traps.
No,
you cannot
no free
save traps round around.
And it is the same thing with Killjoy, Turret, and Alarm Bot, I believe, right? Or
Correct.
Yeah, Alarm Bot.
Correct. Yeah, the alarm bot.
And
The alarm bot I can kind of get behind, and here's
Skye's
why I can
heal
kind of get.
also follows
The-
the trait.
Does it?
Yeah, so like if I only use 5 points out of my Skye heal, I have to rebuy it the next round.
You got to rebuy. I mean that makes some sense. You tap it, you're gonna have to rebuy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you gotta be careful
But
with that.
the alarm bot kind of I can understand because I believe it had a global recall. I to this date have never
It
played
does.
Killjoy, so I have no idea.
It does.
But
It still does. Although it
global
deactivates
recall.
now, which is
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Okay.
so even if it deactivates, I mean, you can pick it up and you can save yourself creds from anywhere all over the map. I don't think that's exactly fair. So I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But Cypher, that's a pretty big hit,
It's a
and I think
massive hit.
it's a pretty big hit that a lot of people don't realize because Cypher's kit is very expensive.
Dude, he rolls like Kanye, bro.
Um, Anybody that has played Cypher for a large amount of time can understand
Paging
the
Brian.
struggle of buying full armor, full kit,
Yep.
and a bulldog
Yep.
because you can't afford that 2900 rifle. So pretty big hit, making it so that you have to mandatory. It's mandatory if you want 2 trips to pay for both of them, and there's nothing you can do to save them going to the next
Exactly.
round.
And
That's huge for the econ.
full util's like 600, right? It's either 600 or 1,000 because
It's
I know
2 for
traps,
each trap
it's
and 1 for each cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 600 plus armor that's 1,600 on top of the rifle. So you're looking at
Yeah.
a very, very, you got to get something out of it. It makes them more snowball, which
Yep.
Sentinels already existed kind of as snowball characters, but taking this away, you are like forced into snowballing to be successful.
Correct.
In all honesty, I think that's bad. Bad
I
way
don't
to
like the
go.
change.
I think it's a bad
I
way.
don't. I think this patch did a lot to Cypher.
It did.
Cypher maybe needed to get looked at since he was getting picked literally every game.
I agree.
He's getting picked in every pro game, even still, I believe.
They're pretty close, but the
the
pro
patch,
games are all on 1-1.
the patch hasn't rolled out for pro games, so
Right.
it doesn't matter. But I think it's going to do a lot to his pick rate. Maybe it won't, but my prediction is that they're not going to see as much of the Cypher pro play.
No. If we
Just
see a
because
Sentinel, it's Killjoy.
it's gonna be
There's no
it's
way.
gonna be more worth to take that rifle as opposed to having that bulldog every round, because a phantom versus a bulldog in the hands of a pro player is it's a lot. That's
It's a big
that's
difference.
frags.
It's
So
2 bullets versus 4 bullets,
correct.
which is, in all honesty, it's like 2 milliseconds, I think, in actuality. But that 2 milliseconds is less than the average reaction speed of these pro players. So
Six bullets a magazine too, so it's 24 in the bulldog,
Exactly.
30 in the phantom, so less margin for error,
I don't know.
slower fire rate.
I think that we'll still see Killjoy because she got some cooldown buffs in accordance to
Mhm.
her new ranges. So she has to play
Correct.
in range of her tools, which is great. But you have to when you pick them back up, you get them for 7 seconds now instead.
Yeah.
So when you pick the alarm bot up, instead of waiting 20 seconds, it's 7 seconds. If you pick the turret up, it's 10 seconds. And those are negligible because that's usually how long it takes you to rotate on most of these maps.
Correct.
Where you can reset them up if you wanted to get something in place. And then she got a nano swarm buff because the nano swarm just felt awkward.
Weak.
Well,
Weak
not
is the phrase I would use.
I don't know. Yes, they didn't do a lot, but you can still set your traps properly with them, and they have to respect it,
Sure.
But it feels more like a Molotov now because of the way that the damage ticks, and instead of it chunking flat chunks,
It's
over
like
time,
swing,
it's,
swing, swing.
It's an actual decay.
It's now.
Yeah, Rumz
That's how it actually goes. By the way, I just want to.
Rumz is making motions with his hands. If you guys can't see the video, but anyway,
audio will get in there.
I like these changes for Killjoy. I think this
I do
makes
too.
more sense, and it enters a balanced state for these Sentinels. I want them to reverse the eco on just Cypher, and that'd be fine. The deactivation on drop something. The deactivation on death is enough, I think, to bring him in.
I think that's enough. Either keep the change, you filthy animal, but keep the change and make the tripwires cost less, or reverse the change. I think
agree.
it's just a little too much.
I agree.
I think it's close to what he needed, but it's just a hair too much.
I agree, and we'll see what happens. They might go back and tweak it a little bit. So another thing is my class that I play, which is Initiators, has received buffs because we got a new character, which is dope. And Breach got some buffs, which is his full flash time is increased to 2 seconds. The fault line, which is the stun bar where the stun starts, now starts 8 meters away from Breach on his signature and his ultimate, which means that I won't stun my teammates as often by them sidestepping at the last second into my stun after I call it, which is nice.
Yeah. Had that happen before.
Exactly. And then Fault Line now charges faster to reach full distance, full charge. So that's kind of
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice quality of life on Breach. I didn't think he needed it, but I'm not going to complain too
I don't
much.
I don't necessarily think
I think
like you
it's
said it was
I think it's
required,
fine.
but it's a good change.
I think it's fine. Now, the meat and potatoes. Skye.
Mhm.
All right. I
Mhm.
first saw this character, got a little bit of like my first game in, you know. We woke up, we rolled out of bed, we got a game in on Skye in the original patch. And I was like, "Man, she just feels kind of weird, you
This
know."
character's
I was like,
trash.
"This character feels like bad Breach but with a heal." And that's just kind of
Quote.
like what I sat on. Literal quote. Then I watched someone who was smarter than me play this character and I understood. Then I got it. I understand now. So her flashes broken.
Nasty.
These are absurd. You can throw them
Nasty.
over like every corner. You can like wind in. So we were on Icebox. If you played Icebox so far, there's a middle section with the tube and the boiler ramp, right, where the defense
Mhm.
can sit. So if you're watching stream, you can
Mhm.
like see my hand. So like, I was playing off to the side of boiler. Okay, so like on the ground, and I was like, okay, well I'm gonna just curve my flash over and stun anybody pushing middle, so my Omen can peek from Potter underneath tube, right? So I was like, hey,
Yeah.
Omen, I'm gonna flash. And he's like, okay, sure. So I snaked it over, to, around that corner where they would like round the corner, and then I popped my
Mhm.
flash, and I didn't hit Omen, but I full blinded 3 people, and he got a 3K, and they
Yeah.
just couldn't see anything.
Yeah, it's
And
busted.
yeah, and then the next round I was like, okay, well I'll reposition. And I'll actually just play boiler now, but I'll crouch down first, and I can toss it up high and then around the corner, and it's at the top of their screen, and they still get full blind.
Yep.
You know, and the way you can round walls is just kind of silly.
The thing with her flash is it's very, very hard to turn away from.
Yeah, it's hard to
It's
see.
very hard to shoot. It's very hard to see, and it's very hard to turn away from. I know that it's a balance mechanic that well, you can shoot it, and it's not going to do anything.
I think right. I
Yeah,
think right
it's
now, that's because she's new. If
yeah,
that makes sense, you know.
and I can see that. However, I don't see the skill catching up quite as much to shooting the flash out of the sky just
Maybe
because it
yeah,
pops so quickly
yeah.
and you have no idea where it's going to come from. Uh, Especially if it comes in from the top of your screen, that's such a hard reaction.
I'd
Especially if you
agree.
trade out, if you like stand in an angle where you can trade out the flash. That I mean, it's busted.
Then even if you
It's
trade flashes, you're still getting a player for a flash, in some
which
cases.
is yeah.
Which
I mean,
is
it's
you're spending like
worth.
$200 for a player. That's kind of I'd take that every round.
Yeah, it's also the only flash in the game that can occupy open space
Yeah,
without any movement restrictions. By
yeah,
that I mean, Phoenix is restricted by a 90-degree corner. If he doesn't turn away from his flash or throw a flash around a corner, he's going to get flashed.
right.
Breach is restricted by a wall. He needs a wall to throw his
This
flash through.
this feels like a regular
Skye
flashbang.
Skye is the only flash in the game that is close to a regular flash grenade where
Yeah,
it can occupy open space and do its job.
yeah. It's kind of nuts. No, my thinking is though, like it's hard. It's hard to shoot right until we recognize the habitual like paths, right? So like there's like the designated Sova recon spots, and players
Mm-hmm.
know once they see them to like look and say, okay, Sova's gonna arrow here or here. We can react to this arrow. So like initially
Correct.
those like big brain arrows were like massive, and you get 3 pings every time. Now you have to be more smart with it. You know, the smart Sova players are still really really good,
Mm-hmm.
but the dumb Sova players are kind of like okay, and that's it. And I think this is going to be another instance where the smart Skye players who learn to line up flashes in different ways or different pathings or from different sources to vary their peeking off of their like pop flash or like flashing for themselves
Mm-hmm.
is what's going to make her a strong agent, but it might keep her reins in just a little bit because especially in rifle rounds, if you see inflict to the bird, a lot of the times it's just such a big target that your spray will just kill it, you know.
Yeah.
There have been instances where I throw my flash and then I hear like one rifle go off and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go over here and take this other angle because I don't know where they are. And
Mm-hmm.
then I throw my wolf, which is its next ability. So that bird that just got shot out.
Before we talk about the wolf, I got one
Oof.
thing to add on the bird, and this is perhaps the best thing in Skye's kit, in my opinion. With the it's part of the bird. She confirms when she hits somebody with the flash
Yes.
for free intel,
Yes.
and that is massive. That is so much bigger than people realize because you can just toss a flash around a corner and she'll say flashed, and then you know that there's people there.
Yeah, or blinded or whatever.
Or
And the
blinded
other
or
characters
whatever.
don't do that.
Whatever for it. Nobody else does that.
Nope.
It's free intel to know. It's free intel at the cost of a flash, and you flash the enemy, and you learn that they're there. Pretty busted.
I would agree.
Pretty impactful.
I would agree 100%. But my reasoning is, so like if you start with a flash and they shoot it, and you need to know, oh, okay, how many people are rotating? You know, how many people are coming? Well, I'll fall back to this defensive position. Let me throw my wolf out, which is a moving camera. And then your moving camera gets to pass through these kind of different, you know, pathways and easy walkways, and then all of a sudden you're, you know, let's say you're B garage on split, you round that phoenix or you round your bird around the corner, and you hear rifle pop off and shoot your bird. Like, oh, there's at least one. So you fall back behind the thing, throw your wolf out, round the corner, and you see two people, and you're like, oh, now there's two. I can call for the rotation.
Is it nearsighted?
A little
wolf?
bit, yeah, but it's small
Okay.
and it moves faster than a regular player. So if you're
Right.
smart and like know how to jiggle or bait or fake the movements out, most players aren't gonna like flick and immediately hit it with the 3 shots you need to and then go back. And if they do, you're like, okay, I need to call for at least one rotation because there's 1 or 2 people that are pushing me now.
Sure.
So you can call for the trade, which is also super beneficial and important.
Right.
You know, it's pairing the pairing of flashing into a camera or camera then knowing to flash or some combination of those two abilities is
Strong.
ridiculously strong, and as far as CC goes in this game that we haven't
Yeah.
really seen yet, which I think is important.
You have your intel gathering, and then you have your crowd control in the flash,
Yep.
and the ability to handle those two together
Yep.
on one kit set is huge.
Yeah, and if you land the wolf, you get a concuss too,
Correct.
which is, you know, added icing, I guess.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Cherry on top.
Exactly. And then the next thing is like the Seekers, right? Her ultimate
Mhm.
that also can cuss and add, or sorry, that near sight instead of concuss. So the Seekers are slow, and they're easy to shoot because they run a
Right.
direct path because they're auto pathing.
Mhm.
But if I flash you and then pop Seekers, and then throw a flash behind the Seekers, you now have to pick which threat you're dealing with. You know, do you want to be nearsighted or do you want to be flashed?
Correct.
And if you miss, then you're flashed and then you're nearsighted, and you're probably dead.
Yep. Or you stack players on the seekers.
Exactly.
Trade the seekers out.
But then you're just
Or you don't do
trading
anything
an
with the
ultimate for a
seekers.
player.
Or you don't do anything with the seekers, and you learn that there's 3 people on one side of the map as opposed to 2 on one side of the map, and then one seeker just takes off in the other direction.
Exactly.
So her ultimate is very easy to get value out of.
Yep.
And I'm a huge fan of ultimates, especially at 6 points, that have the ability to get easy value. I think Sova is one of those where it gets easy value because if you shoot it and somebody's not there,
Well,
then at least you know
Sova's a
somebody's
7
not there.
charge.
7 charge. I'm not talking about his charge.
Oh,
but,
just the ultimates in general. Yeah.
if we're talking about points and congruency with
It's a lot It's
strongness,
a lot like Rays.
we'll do like a raise
Just throw it out.
at 6 instead of 7, but
But you just throw it
Yeah.
out, man. It's nuts.
you just throw it out and you get value, and that's pretty strong. I really like support characters having 6 ultimate charges
I would agree.
because it's like the first that we've seen support ultimate that has 6 points.
Yeah.
I'd
But-
like to see more. It's pretty strong. It's easily countered. You can just shoot it.
Yeah.
If paired and used well, you're going to get extreme value out of it.
I
So
agree.
I'm good with her
It
ult.
has
I
to-
like it.
Has to balance it, right? Because Sage used to be 6,
Yes.
and I had to get knocked up, which the res I think is way more powerful than this. Does that makes more sense? But something similar to this, I would agree. What I'm excited for, we'll see Ash or not.
The res
sorry,
was
not
at
Ash.
6?
Yeah, the res was at 6 originally.
Goodness.
Long time
I don't
ago.
remember that.
Yeah, that's because they fixed it like in closed, like right after open beta, or
Yeah.
the closed period, or like one of the first changes they made. To
Wow,
Sage was
that'd be
like,
horrible, wouldn't it?
yeah, one of the first changes they made was Sage was like, oh yeah, no, now it's charged with 7. It makes more sense. What I'm excited to see, so Skye will go live on the 23rd for ranked play, or not ranked play, pro play, because
Yes.
the 16th is Icebox and the next week is Skye, so the 23rd.
Correct.
All right, so I'm excited to see a fragger pick this character up and just pop off.
Yeah.
Here's my reasoning, okay? Because you get so much intel with things like her ultimate and her skills, her ult, if you're consistently winning the round, like getting kills. So we played a game last night. I was consistently getting like 2 to 3 kills a round. I was having one of those games. I ulted 4 times with this character, and I only went like 26, 27 kills, which is obscene. And I got a couple of bomb plants, right? And then you die like the 11 times, whatever you do through the game or something like that.
Correct.
But I got to ult 4 times in one match with the Seekers,
Which is a lot.
Yeah, we won like 13.
That's
to
a
5.
lot of intel. That's
Yeah.
a lot of intel, and if those Seekers do end up connecting, that's, I'm not gonna call it a free kill, but it's pretty close.
Especially if you have somebody there to properly trade too.
Yeah, it's a paranoia. So,
and honestly, the
good value.
strongest Seekers I actually threw that game were the ones that just didn't react. So we were on Icebox, and I switched over to A, and I threw the Seekers out. Like walls came up, I threw Seekers and tossed a flash over the wall so that I could try to get some value off my Seekers. And they just walked through like it was no big deal. And we were like, oh, there's nobody here. So we rotated our mid guy early. We sent one guy over, and then I anchored on A. And by the time they got over there, it was 4v5, and then I could come around through middle and clean the last 2 kills up, and that was it. It was just a full hold, and I didn't even get any actual like hard information off of the Seekers or my flashes.
Right.
Just knowing they weren't there was enough.
Yeah. Like I said, lot of
intel.
Easy value
Lots of easy
off of her ultimate.
But I love this character, man. She feels fun now that I've gotten more of an understanding of how to use her kit together and kind of vibe with it. She's a lot of fun. I like this character.
Never played. Haven't played her yet. Probably won't, just due to our current team comp. Won't play her for a while. But
you made me insta-locking before we get to actually play ranked games. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I won't compete for it. Nobody competes Jet for me, so.
No, that's fine. I think she's pretty strong though. I don't think she facilitates that operator position very well. No. She has the long range flashes and stuff like that, but her heal, she's not selfish enough to facilitate being an operator, I think, and that's kind of the problem.
Breach can be, which is why I think Breach is a good alt op. Because he can flash for himself, he can stun for himself.
Plus, you can throw your flash and then pull your rifle back up while it's going off far away. And you can't do that with Skye. You have to be in like the bird control thing.
You have to.
Yeah.
And then poof.
The last little bit, kind of the least impactful thing, surprisingly, is the heal, which is the heal is really good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. AoE LOS heal, it's good, and it heals quickly, which is great. But like, it's just underwhelming compared to the rest of her kit that feels bloated. Yeah.
The reason why I like her heal a lot, situationally, I'm not going to say always, but situationally, right?
Right.
Sova tags one of your teammates. This is something that I didn't know. You can heal through it.
Yep.
He could take all 3 shots and you just won't die.
Yeah.
Because you just heal through it.
Well, there's enough time. There's like enough downtime for your heal to come back.
Yeah. That's something that I saw, I think Space Station Kaplan tweeted about, was that he was healing his teammate through Sova ultimate, which is very, very strong.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts. And the
delay...
delay...
explain why, but...
The delay makes sense. Like, Sova's delay is there for a reason, and I get it. But you have to be smart with your Skye heal to do it properly. So you have to like heal him. He like takes a shot, you heal him, then you see the animation comes up and you let go, knowing the Sova timing right before it hits, and then wait a second, and then that damage window goes away where they can't heal, and you can heal again without over healing.
Yeah.
So that you can get the proper thing back. But yeah, you can just make sure they don't die after 2 shots and they're just damaged on the 3rd.
Yep.
Which is nuts, especially because Sova bomb holds have become way more popular at super high levels of play. So I think Skye's going to make a big impact should she not see major changes prior to going to the pro scene. And
I think... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I don't foresee Riot making massive changes prior to going to the pro scene.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think she's pretty fairly balanced as it is right now, because currently there's ways to counter her and everybody can counter her. It's not a kit-based counter. You don't need like For instance, like a Sova ult counters a Killjoy ultimate.
Yeah.
You don't need a kit specific thing to counter what Skye does, and I think that keeps her balanced.
Just need good aim.
Yeah, you just need to be able to react well
Yeah.
to them birds.
I agree. Last little bit on this patch that change that kind of matters is the economy changes. So attackers who lose and survive without planting the spike receive only 1,000 credits.
Yep.
Instead of the traditional loss bonus credits. And the defenders who lose but survive the entire round after the spike has been detonated receive reduced credits of 1,000. And then dying to the spike no longer counts in your KDA. So maybe we see
Good change. Good quality of life change.
that's fine. But the eco, this is to stop some extra save snowball kind of eco rounds, in my opinion. Like you see, like the 3-man and the 4-man save. This is to kind of slow down them bundling so much money together. It makes it to where you're getting more risk for buying for those teammates that died on a loss.
Correct.
Is all this is. It's to kind of make it more impactful when you lose that way. Kind of keep the game more. I think they're trying to shift it to be a little bit more offensive, interactive. Is the way that kind of feels, especially with them pushing things like flashes and control and getting onto site, that kind of thing. So
and I was gonna mention that with the meta shift that we're seeing into this flash heavy, aggro heavy thing, they're trying to make it a little more punishing,
right,
for that buy.
Yeah, you can have up to 11 flashes now, by the way.
So nuts. That was one thing I wanted to add about Skye's flashes. I don't know if she needs 3 of them.
She needs 2.
I don't.
She just needs 2. Three's a lot.
They're pretty damn strong for their duration, for how hard they are to dodge. I don't think that she needs 3. I don't.
So I think they're trying to follow the initiator having 3 flash rule. Right? Breach has 3 flashes. Skye has 3 flashes. Duelist with flashes have 2.
Correct.
And they're more close quarters. They're a lot more selfish. They're easier to pop flash, that kind of thing. They're trying to delineate those 2 different styles of flashes, and that I get it. That makes sense.
I get it too.
But then like her flashes need to almost cost like 150.
Yeah, a little more.
I don't know if you can push it to 200, but it needs to be like 150. And I don't know if they're ever going to do 150 as a price.
Because it's not a 0.
It just doesn't round up the rest of their prices because nothing else has a 50.
Yeah, nothing has a 50. But no, I totally agree with you. For the price point that they're at right now, you get a little too much value out of them.
Yeah, you get a lot. But
that's all I have to say about that.
We do need to see players adjust. I want to see like a week and a half at least of players adjusting to Skye's usage patterns, like where she typically plays, where she typically does flashes. And to see if players get good enough at like the good players punishing those flashes. Because I think if you cater the characters to the bottom end of that spectrum, you're gonna ruin the game.
Yeah, the game's gonna lose
the
fidelity and
middle and top portion of your bell curve.
Correct.
Because I have full faith and confidence that like gold 1 and above players will be pretty good at consistently destroying bad Skye flashes.
I don't.
I think it'll be fine. But that's because I'm a gold player and I can regularly destroy the Skye flashes.
The reason why I don't think so, I mean, they have to be pretty bad flashes, I think, to be able to punish them. Either straightforward or they're not detonated on time or properly.
Right.
I think there's if you get a halfway decent Skye, which you should be seeing in gold, I don't think that it's something that is going to be super easy reacted to. I just don't. It's very fast. It's very fast.
I don't think it's going to be easy, right? I'm not saying it's going to be like everyone and their mom can flick to the bird and kill the bird, But unless you're using like defined spots or you're varying your flight patterns or your like different release locations and that kind of thing, they're gonna adapt really easily to it, like Cypher.
Which my argument is that everybody in the gold and above elo, like you mentioned, is going to be doing that. Eventually. If they're gold, they're going to be at least have half a brain. I'd like to think, being gold, I'd like to think that my potential teammates have half a brain.
I don't know. I've been proved wrong.
could be inherently wrong in that, but I would like to think that in gold and above, they're going to be varying the flight patterns of the bird at
Probably.
least more often
Mm.
than not.
Speaking of ranked, we've completed our placements, right? I think we're both sitting around gold range right now.
I haven't completed mine.
Okay, I couldn't remember if you were done or not. They
No.
seem to have this swath of. It's got a pattern of de-ranking people, is what I've noticed, off of their
Mm,
initial ranked games. And by that I mean it's placing you lower than where you ended prior to the last season, and most of the people that I've seen.
sure.
So like in my ranked games so far, I've seen like 2 diamond players, so people with like the diamond Dorito on their card, or mostly diamond Dorito, plat Dorito on their card,
Yeah.
but they're ranked gold 2, gold 3.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of that safety net of, oh, we're going to knock you down just a little bit because you should quickly go back up if you're supposed to.
I think we mentioned this in
Yeah.
a different episode when the new ranking system came out that we're going to
Small
start to
reset.
see the higher people who that shouldn't be higher. We're going to see them start to drop lower,
Yep.
and the good people who are lower are going to start to rise because of
Yes.
this Dorito system.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm liking it. The games feel better. I'm having a better experience in rank, but I'm also strictly like solo to at most trio stacking on main.
Yeah.
As far as ranked goes, I think that's like that's kind of the way to be successful, especially with them leaning towards maximizing the ranked queue at a duo queue at some point,
Mhm.
and then operating a separate ranked queue for
For
trios and
stacks.
5 stacks.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm liking it so far. Early ranked seems to feel pretty good. Icebox feels pretty good, and the ranked rotation. I like
Icebox is
I like it.
okay.
I think
It's okay.
the reason I like it so much is because it feels very offensively sided, and as a initiator, entry, support kind of like player, facilitating offensive strategies is like kind of my jam. Whereas you play operator for my team, and offensive operator is not as good. And so you
Yeah.
feel on the offensive side on Icebox,
So
there's almost no reason to hold an operator.
on T side, see, it's tough because if you know your angles with the operator on Icebox,
Yeah.
you can at a minimum you can compete with the operator.
It's true.
But the thing is
I still
the
think it's worth it.
verticality adds so many angles that are just so hard to cover and to check at once
Yeah.
that me as a jet main on defense with an operator, I can go anywhere and I can have you covered basically. You're never going to see me in the same spot twice, and if
Yeah.
you do, it's by design to get in your head. So
Right.
I just I need to give it more time before I make a judgment.
enough.
How's that?
I do. I think that's one of the other things that I really enjoy. Me coming from being like a card focused player. You know, I played a lot of Magic, poker, competitive card games, and it's strategy in general.
Mm,
Coming from this kind of mindset, any map that facilitates more playing the player instead of the game, which is what Icebox does, I get more out of it because that's in my wheelhouse, right? So like
sure.
Blind, Haven, you know, these kind of default centric maps where you line up and it's about reaction time and it's about, you know, your raw skill at the game. That's great. It's a skill intensive game. But I want to be able to like mess with somebody's head and vibe saying, "Oh, well, they've been playing this angle. If I were them, I'd take this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
top box level on B and try to catch me on the end trip, and then I peek around that corner, he's top box, and I get to crack him, and he gets pissed in the comments. That just feeds me. You know? When somebody's like when somebody spams question marks in all chat, that's food. That's my
When
favorite.
you play Warzone and you know when you kill somebody, then it
Yeah, the
blips in
death
their voice
comms.
chat for a
Yeah,
little bit. You
yeah.
get death comms.
Oh, dude, Valorant death
God,
comms.
it's so good.
Valorant death comms,
So
please,
good.
and unrated. Please and
It'd be
unrated, give
so
me death
funny.
comms. But yeah, no,
It'd be
that's my thing.
so
Though.
awesome.
I like it because I feel like you have to play the players instead.
Yeah,
And that's a big
that's
deal.
fair.
And having some maps that do that. So I don't know.
I don't hate it. I just
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it.
Fair enough. And
Anytime.
it takes a lot. I got a lot of play when it first came out because it wasn't in the ranked rotation. So all we did was play unrated and FF to get Icebox. So I got like 14 reps in the first like week and a half. That's like
True.
the only map that we tried to play. So
True.
I got a lot of time on it.
That's good. It's good.
That's it kind of for my Valorant news. We'll have esports coming up on Monday to recap the First Strike closed qualifier, as it should
Yeah, lots to talk about.
wrap up, I believe, by Sunday. So we'll be talking about November 9th, we'll be talking about the closed Valorant qualifier. But I got some gaming inquiries, some general gaming news. Because believe it or not, there are some other games. For one, Crown Tundra has come out since the last time we talked, which is the Pokemon expansion. People who may be new to the podcast or new to the show may not know.
I'm not familiar.
Big old Pokemon fan. Loved the Pokemans. It's one of my favorite game series. One of my favorite franchises. It's fantastic. It's a strategy game. You play to probability chances, all kinds of stuff. It's great. I love it. So I've been playing a ton of Crown Tundra, making teams. I finished my shiny Galar Dex, which Pokemon, you have this thing called a shiny Pokemon, which is the same as every other Pokemon except it looks different.
Yep.
I'm a fan of the twinkle when you throw the Pokemon out and it's shiny, and I get to flex on the other kids, right? It's that tilt factor of that guy's got a shiny and I don't. It's that tilt factor. So I finished getting every Pokemon in the Galar region shiny. So I have one of everyone for me to play ranked.
In what game is this?
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Sword and Shield.
What? Sword and Shield?
Yeah, the new one on the Switch.
Okay.
Which is kind of fun. The doubles environment's pretty sick.
How much time did that take you? Curious.
Okay, so a lot of them I had done in the Alolan region and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon already. So I transferred everything over that was already there because I'm not going to work for it twice. But I think I have like 700 hours in that game. Something close.
Because I played a lot of Pokemans.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was younger, I think up until about age 14, I played a lot of Pokemon.
Right.
And I got like maybe 2 or 3 shinies in Emerald and Platinum and Fire Red. I had like 3 total, and I can only remember one off the top of my head.
Well,
and it was a green-eyed Tentacool. So.
Oh, it's Tentacruel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably weren't hunting for them though. Like I specifically go out of my way to chain encounters to find them specifically, or soft reset for legendaries or breed.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, like the last one that I finished, what was it? I think it was I wanted a natural born of Moongus, and that was the last one I was working on breeding, and I went through something. Yeah, the mushroom.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a mushroom. It looks like
I've been out of the Pokemon game for so long.
So I needed another shiny Amoonguss because I already had one, especially defensive, but I needed a defensive one, right? Because I can't just use the same one that has different stats. I needed a second one, so I was breeding for it. I think I hit like 6,000 or 7,000 eggs before I finished it. So it's a lot.
Good.
That's what I do. That's what I do in between queues.
Oh my lord!
No, that's what I do in between queues we were playing or whatever. I just drive my bike around and hatch eggs.
And just run back and forth.
Yeah.
Just run back and forth.
No, you get on the bike and I run in the path, go on the path back and forth on the bridge.
All right. I did that. I don't remember. It was Emerald. I don't remember the name of the breeder place, but it's the one right underneath the cave. I think.
Yeah.
There's like a cave right there.
Yeah, I know.
And it's got that really long path. You know what I mean? I would just run that entire path.
Yeah. You break the down arrow on your Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I finished that. I built some teams. I started playing the ladder and getting back up on the ladder. But yeah, it's been exciting.
There you go.
I'm gonna piss everybody off who does play Pokemon that listens to this. They made a new Regis. Do you remember Regice, Regirock?
Yes.
So they made 2 new Regis, Regidrago and Regieleki. So there's an electric type and a dragon type now. Right.
Goodness.
So Regieleki, I got a shiny Regieleki and 14 tries. Okay, and the chance.
What?
Yeah, so the chance to get a Regieleki is
crazy.
So the chance with a shiny charm is 1 out of 4096 or 4092, something like that. And
like 4,000?
Yeah.
92?
Yeah.
Goodness.
And I got it in 14 resets. So that's really lucky.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's great.
That's actually insane.
That's great.
That's pretty fast.
But
for my news, Blizzard put the kibosh on multi-boxers.
It's great.
For those of you who are not familiar, multi-boxing in World of Warcraft is where you pay for multiple accounts and you split them up to where you all log in at the same time on one machine, and you set one character onto another on follow.
No.
Wherever
this is not what they banned. They banned the software that let them put multiple keystrokes to multiple accounts from one keyboard. So there was
Ah,
software to where you didn't even need to follow anymore. They just mimicked movements where you could just hold
ah.
W and move 12 characters at once.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
I'm multi-boxing
the tradition like
it's Burning
vanilla.
Crusade.
Yeah, no.
Like,
So they ruled this third-party software as like tampering. It's just basically cheating,
yes,
right?
it is. I mean, it's
So
tampering. It is.
what the software does is you can have one keyboard and they open up all their different game clients and log in on all their characters, and then you set the broadcast to the individual applications so that you mirror all of your key binding inputs. So what was happening is this swath of like 15 druids would swoop down in bird form and find this one herb resource that you needed to farm to try to make gold or try to get
Yes.
responses, and then in that 20-second, like 10-second window, all 15 of the druids would just pick up that herb because it's no longer
Correct.
first come first serve like it used to be in the good old days,
Right.
and it just effectively tanked the entire economy on resources like that,
Yep.
which in turn inflated gold and ruined, quote unquote, ruined the WoW economy. So
There were multiple things that ruined the WoW
yeah,
economy,
but
but
did.
that
They
is a
stomped
topic
on it.
for that's a topic for another episode. We could go into the finer points
I
of
may or may not.
WoW economy for
I may or may
the
not.
better end of an hour, but
I did my AP macro final paper on WoW's economy in high school.
really,
Yeah, that's what I wrote my paper on. Yep,
Nerd.
big old nerd. So anyway, they did. They squashed that. So you can still do the traditional /follow and try to get a couple, but now it's not
Yep.
realistic to do like 10 accounts at once. And see the
Yeah.
druid swarm, the rose bush or whatever it is.
Absurd. Yeah.
So it's wonderful. It's great.
That's it's
Multi-boxing is
great, but
lame.
it's sad at the same time because I remember being in Borealis and just having like 8 Torns just running around on a super loud, like on a Gmod, the mount that just
Yeah.
makes a crazy amount of noise when you're
Nope.
stomping around.
Nope.
So they're just running around Borealis.
Multi-box.
So funny.
Multi-boxers does one account per MAC address. I'll stand by it.
Insanely funny.
I'll stand by it. One account per MAC address per PC.
Star Wars Squadrons got a pretty good patch.
That's
They are
the
trying.
dogfight game, right?
Yes,
The ship
yes,
game?
that is the ship game.
Man, if I could
Um,
fly any kind of virtual aircraft, that'd be kind of fun.
So there's a
can't.
whole bunch of people
Yeah.
that play Star Wars Squadron
For
with
sure.
the Hoyas joystick.
Uh-huh.
So they play it with the joysticks and the VR headsets,
That's kinda
and
cool.
it's like Elite Dangerous but with Star Wars.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
probably really fun, but every time I've tried to drive any kind of virtual plane or helicopter, I just crash. So that's
It's
not for
also
me.
that whole setup is like $2,000. I looked into it.
Nope.
It's you need $1 grand
Oh, well, that's
for
close
so
to
you
the
need a
price of my
you need
PC.
$1 grand for the VR headset, and
Yeah.
then you need. I didn't know how much Hoyas controls were.
It's probably a lot.
The joysticks, they're like $700 a piece for
Holy
a
crap.
halfway decent one.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's whack.
I'm
It's
good. No,
insane
thanks.
how expensive
I'll
those things
watch.
are.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
I've
Nuts.
done VR a couple of times. There's a theme park nearby my house that has a couple of VR experiences.
Yeah.
It was really cool. So obviously, if you haven't watched, if you're on audio, I have glasses. If you've watched the video, you know. But I'm blind without my glasses. Like I can't see like my hand or my face. It's bad. But the VR headset that they had these dials and some stuff where it would adjust and it corrected my
Yeah.
vision without glasses on for the
That's
virtual distance,
absolutely
so I wasn't
nuts.
blurry or whatever. And, like I could fix it, and it was great. It was so cool.
That's nuts, man.
But
That's
they
fun.
did. You got to like walk around and they gave you a little rifle and you like shoot other players. And VR headset.
Yeah.
It was nifty.
My brother-in-law is the proprietor owner of a arcade in Boise,
Ooh.
and they go to gaming festivals and conventions every year.
Right.
And there was this one machine where it had the platform.
Okay.
It strapped you into this platform that's about 4 feet by 4 feet. It's
Okay.
kind of like a Dance Dance Revolution platform,
Yeah.
In size comparable,
Yeah.
except it was curved.
Oh, and it like moves,
So
right?
so it was concave, and it was kind of like
Yes.
a treadmill in all directions.
Yes.
So it strapped you in so that you wouldn't fall over. You'd put on the VR headset, and then you
You have
could
to-
walk with your
Yes.
little rifle prop, and you could walk and you could run and you could.
I've
It
seen
was
these.
a completely immersive VR experience, and he
seen
said if he could
these.
buy one, he would, but it just didn't fit the
Oh,
theme of the arcade. So
I've seen there's a guy in Japan working on that, and the vest that you put on had sensors, And so like if you were playing Call of Duty and you got shot, it would like punch you. So you felt it. I was like, oh, that's a little too far. A little too far.
I don't know about that.
But that's pretty cool.
I don't know about that.
That's pretty, man, gaming is wild. That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, the future of gaming is so bright. It's so bright.
Cool. And esports in general.
That's another thing we could spend an entire episode on. Yeah, esports is in a good spot. Technology's in a good spot for the future of gaming.
I'm glad to be an IT major, let me tell you. That's funny you bring that up. I'm going to kind of round the session out with a question.
Sure.
We could said, we do an episode on WoW economy. We could do an episode on the direction of gaming. Obviously, we very much so enjoy Valorant. We play it a ton. We have a big group. Join the Discord, hang out. We play it, at least once a day for the most part. But we like games, and we like to talk, like especially this Beyond Valorant segment. We want to propose if you guys would be up to hearing more about the extra world of gaming and more of a general show where we get to talk about other things some weeks instead of Valorant.
Just nerd stuff.
Just
geek out for an hour, man.
Make it the OneTap. It's called OneTap Gaming. We're branded under OneTap Gaming. We talk about gaming. So
just talk about gaming.
Let us know what you guys think about the general gaming stuff. We've got a lot to talk about before that's ever actually implemented. But I'd like to ground out with a question. Please
don't ask. Can't ask. Can't do anything with feedback if we don't get feedback.
Exactly.
So please give us some feedback if you're so inclined. That would be awesome.
But I believe that's kind of all I got for today. I've been playing WoW other than school and Valorant. So
yeah, I think that's about all I have too. I've been playing a lot of Warzone. Cringe, I know, but
sad.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to play Valorant and then go to Warzone where the snipers actually you have to lead your target.
Yeah.
As an operator main, and I'm just like, I shoot and then I miss and I'm just God, I get so mad, bro. It's so yeah, it's horrible.
No, it's kind of nuts, but yeah, I think that's all we got. Please follow us anywhere and everywhere at OneTapCast and join the Discord. Yes. You can do exclamation Discord in the chat. You can find the Discord pinned in our Twitter and join us on there. Join the community, talk, hang out, have a good time. But as always, I am your host Solemn FPS, and you can find me at Solemn FPS on Twitter, or you can catch me streaming here at OneTapCast on Twitch. And my boy Rumz, where can they find you at?
Everywhere at actual Rumz, all one word, ACTUALRUMZ.
And as always, man, you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.
Take it easy, guys.